When did you realize someone was all bark and no bite? My boss Vanessa terrified everyone at the office. Her personality hit harder than a CEO who owned a private jet and ran the world from her penthouse. And Vanessa wasn't just any boss. She was the kind of person people whispered about in the hallways like she was a myth. You know those horror stories you hear but don't believe until you see? That was Vanessa. The rumor mill churned nonstop. She had a reputation so fierce it could freeze your blood. She's fired 3 people this week, they said. She throws laptops like frisbees across the room. Last month, she had a meltdown so bad HR had to intervene. People literally rearranged their schedules and routes just to avoid crossing her path. And if you ever got caught in her glare, forget about it. It was like she could see through your soul, find your weakest point, and shred it, all without saying a word. Walking into a room with Vanessa was like stepping into the eye of a storm. Everyone stopped mid-breath, like you didn't want to disturb the air she was breathing. You could feel the tension crackle in the atmosphere, like static electricity before lightning. People practically held their hands over their mouths to stop themselves from saying the wrong thing. The kind of boss who didn't need to yell because her silence screamed louder than any explosion. New hires didn't last long. Those who made it past the first week shared tales of the infamous Vanessa stare, and how meetings turned into trials where even the toughest got reduced to stammering messes. She was the queen bee of intimidation, the human thunderstorm, a force so relentless it sucked all the energy from the room just by her presence. Even those who never touched caffeine switched to black coffee just to keep their nerves steady around her. Then came the day of the big client pitch. The whole office was holding its breath. Vanessa was leading. This was her moment to show why she ruled the roost. She'd been rehearsing nonstop for weeks, barely sleeping, and everyone knew one misstep could mean disaster for the whole team. The pressure was thick, the air electric. And then, disaster struck. A major tech glitch killed the presentation slides. Panic spread like wildfire. Vanessa's usual icy scowl deepened, the kind of scowl that could curdle milk and make flowers wilt. She started pacing like a caged tiger, muttering about incompetence and wasting her time. The ferocity in her eyes was almost palpable. But then I saw it, the crack in the armor. The real Vanessa wasn't the lioness hunting in the savannah. She was more like a pufferfish, puffing up to look fierce, but actually just making noise to cover up how small and scared she was inside. Her voice shook as she barked orders, trying to make the IT guy fix things faster, but all she got were polite shrugs and raised eyebrows. When it was finally her turn to speak, no slides, no backup, Vanessa stumbled. The words she'd practiced 100 times disappeared. Her confidence deflated right before everyone's eyes, like someone pulling the plug on a whoopee cushion. The client smiled politely, but their eyes glazed over. The power had left the room. That's when I stepped in, calm, collected, no theatrics. I laid out the proposal from scratch, answered questions, and owned the room. Vanessa slunk into the back corner, eyes darting around like she wanted to disappear. After the meeting, the buzz changed. No longer were people whispering about her fierce reputation. Now they talked about how she'd cracked when it mattered most. The queen was just a queen of noise, all bark, no bite. From that day on, the vibe shifted. People stopped freezing when Vanessa walked by. They exchanged knowing looks, little smirks here and there, because sometimes the loudest growl, it comes from the tiniest dog.